What could I say? What could I do? Is this the way to follow through? Is this the way to follow through? Is this the way to follow through? I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Lost in a wheel, there's nothing more real. There's nothing that could have been done. Taken by a dreamer, believes all he reads are his past, and life will go on. Dormant spirits, they've risen, they hear us. They walk to the call of the Lamb. Driven to badness, no word from the madness. The clock on the wall stopped at 10. Yeah, but that's alright. It's alright. It's alright.
I'm doing a sound check. You guys hearing me all right?
It's alright. Yeah. Michael and Rudy have gone to the movie. They say that they've seen it before.
Remember, this is Wavetech software training today.
Along for the chewing. Those creeps put a lock on my door. Papers abundant, booklets and folders, tools I need in their trays. Words have their meaning, though I still have no feeling. I wonder as I search for new ways. Yeah, but that's alright.
All right.
It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. Yeah, yeah. Disco.
Another 5 minutes, we'll get going, folks. You folks on Zoom are hearing me all right, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome.
Drawn to conclusion, I slipped in delusion. A winner, I came to my claim. Hardly assaulted, I test my involvement. I gamble with those that are lame. Why stop the movement? It's thrilling, it's crudeness, it's cool, and it's bought me my fame. I cry like a demon, I'm wrenched to the ceiling. There's no one in the streets I can change. Yeah, but that's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. Yeah, yeah. Disco again. It's alright. It's alright. Yeah.
minutes, we'll
in
get
a
going.
wheel, there's nothing more real. There's nothing that could have been done. Taken by a dreamer, believes all he reads are his past, and life will go on. Dormant spirits, they've risen, they hear us, they walk to the call of the Lamb. Driven to badness, no word from the madness. The clock on the wall stopped to 10. Yeah, but that's alright. It's alright, yeah. It's alright. It's alright, yeah, yeah. I say it's alright now, yeah. It's alright. It's alright, yeah. It's alright, yeah, yeah. Now it's alright. Oh, yeah. It's alright. Yeah, it's alright.
Hey everyone, I am here. I'm looking for our primary guest. I don't see Jason Kendall on the line. Are you around, Jay? Haven't seen him join yet. Sure hope he does. He's supposed to be running the show today. So everyone, thanks for showing up. We did a soft launch, a very soft launch on PortfolioXpert, which is in the background right now, last week. And we're going to actually integrate our training over the next several weeks, alternating from PX, which we call PortfolioXpert, to Wavetech and back and forth. We were talking about putting another training day together, and our live streams and everything we got going here just so intense. It's almost impossible to keep up with things. So yeah. So anyway, I guess I'll fill the space a little bit here and talking about some things. Yeah, I was hoping you'd show up, Jason Kendall. Okay, I'm not hearing anybody.
I'm
There,
here. I can hear you.
there you are. I was getting worried.
I just got in.
I see that. Okay, so yeah, so I was just talking to everybody about how we're going to start integrating PX and the Wavetech platforms, and we'll focus one week to the other, but we're also going to integrate a little bit. I know you're going to be showing how you're using both platforms. And the good news is, if you sign up for PortfolioXpert, you get everything: Market Grid, you get Market Grid, the Wavetech, you get the screens, you get everything that we do. And so you'll have the entire suite of products that we're offering out to everyone. So that'll be good to go. Yeah, just want to do some cleanup work. Let's see here. Got a smaller group. These markets are wearing us all down, huh? Pretty crazy stuff we've got going on out there, to say the least. Let's see here. I think what I'll do here is switch over. Jay, I want you to get everything set up and let me know when you're set up, and then I'll make you the host so you can run the show, okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just need a few more minutes.
No problem. Just give me a holler. Yeah, so we usually get some folks coming in right at 1:30. So yeah, appreciate just a couple couple comments on some things that we continue to see happen. Now, these markets have been absolutely crazy, especially Monday's action, and we're seeing lots of volatility. The interesting thing is I'm hoping that we can show you today the difference of dealing with indices and volatility versus running a portfolio. And those of you that have the portfolio manager, yeah, there's some volatility, but it's about 50% or less. In a lot of cases, it's 30%. And we had some what we call Jay's COVID Crusader portfolios were down like 0.71 yesterday. So they didn't even respond to a lot of the stuff that was going on out there. And I see questions, and I'll just cover a couple of things while Jay is getting ready on some stuff. Is really the action that we're seeing in the markets are certainly unprecedented, but we closed on the S&P last Friday at 3509, and I think we went out at forget the number now, at 40.45 on the futures. So we are actually higher on the week, even though it's funny how that spike to 36.5 affects your mentality and what you're doing there. And I've been and I'm going to start covers. I did see some good comments on the channel last night that folks said, why don't you cover the Russell now that my Russell trade's starting to work? So I'll start doing that. I'll throw the Russell into the mix. I actually came up with a strategy for producing the videos that have made it much more efficient too. So that shouldn't be a problem to add that in. Yeah, we're a little short on what we normally have at this time, but I think, Jay, just let me know when you're ready, and I will turn it over to you, and we'll kick it off. And I'm going to do some interreaction, but not as much as I normally do, unless needed. I will come in and talk about some things if you folks have some questions. But Jason's quite capable when it comes to PortfolioXpert, and I'm actually excited for him to show you some of the things that we talked about earlier on what he's going to show you how to do today, because that'll be very, I think you'll find it very interesting. Is one of the hardest things to do in building portfolios and managing them is the constituent list and coming up with good lists to walk forward in the real world, and that's a lot of what we'll be talking about. So yeah.
Since I came in a little late, I wasn't sure if you had, and I didn't know at what point you wanted to address this in the show, but I assume in the beginning is a little better, and we can always come back to later as more people join. But I didn't know, and I don't even know if you did start to talk about it since I came in a little late. Asking everyone out there if for Tuesdays, because I heard.
Oh, I didn't. I haven't done that yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I trying to figure out if everyone would like us to start earlier in the day, since we're now at Mountain Time, but it's 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If everyone thinks or feels that starting the show earlier in the day is better, then
well, let's do better than earlier. That's very vague. Let's
6 in the morning, right?
No. But something. What we'd like to hear from is the international folks that are on here too, because I see some folks from Germany and other places I know that are on primarily on the Zoom and possibly on YouTube as well. And so I'm thinking something a little earlier in the day. We were doing things with after the close primarily because of my involvement, and I'm going to be pulling back from most of that involvement with the training as we go forward. And so Jay will be handling the training. So what's going to be able to happen then is we're going to be he's got better flexible time than I have from the standpoint of the markets, and we're also going to work on the getting him completely set up so he runs anonymous. Right now, we're running off of my equipment from remote, and so that will switch over by this time next week. So he'll be on his own platform. We just had a couple things we had to get set up with him on the other end. So anyway, yeah. So let us know via email. You can chime in, and if there's a good time. I know usually we have some folks from Australia on and different. I know, Richard, you're on. I know you're in Berlin. So what's a good time for you folks over there?
I just go with the flow, Bob, and when it's late, I sneak into my little office here, and then I do some chores and participate in the training. Earlier is better, like someone just commented an hour earlier, that works as well.
Okay.
To get to bed. But yeah.
Yeah, so
everyone's so spread out.
Yeah, they are. And but I'm thinking even maybe like we do the live stream, during the at 1:30, which is now 11:30 our time, because we didn't switch our clocks, the rest of you did. So it's I haven't been able to get in rhythm on daily videos or anything since this has happened. It's really throwing me off. So yeah, so maybe we'll go to like the same time on Tuesday that we do the Wednesday and go from there.
That sounds good.
Okay. And let's see here. Richard over on YouTube is you're in Melbourne. I always forget. I know you guys are completely around the clock, so it's is earlier work for you guys as well over there? I'm just looking. He's on YouTube, so we're looking to. Let me just look at something. Yeah, it's 8:30 a.m. So that's probably a pretty good time for you right now, doing this later. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So all right. Well, let's go ahead. Jay, are you ready to kick off?
Yeah.
All right. So let me go over, and I'm making you host, so it's going to be all about you.
I am the host now.
Okay.
Wallpaper background.
There you go. Mando.
The new season's pretty good. We're enjoying it so far.
I have different opinions, but you know that already.
Yeah. Yeah, so what we're going to do today, it's kind of a continuation of the last 2 weeks, but this is going to be a little more in depth on where we're trying to show you not just only the portfolio creation, but actually going through and looking and focusing on a good list of stocks or any kind of stocks, and how you start with a larger amount and kind of whittle them down and get them to fine tune to, let's say if you're going for 20 or 25 or 30 stocks, maybe you start with 50 and start working your way down. And also, if you are having trouble where you have picked some stocks and are just not working, how do you work that out? And on one of mine that I had noticed, I hadn't worked on it for a while, and I kind of put it aside, and it was just kind of one of those that whenever you get a chance to get to it, just kind of play around with it, because it's not going to be used, but it's more for research purposes on my end. But it's got 44 symbols. I remember when I first started, it started at 50 symbols, and I worked it down a little bit, and then I went in and I started working on some other portfolios that were actually going to go live and be active. So those took precedent over this other, and I happened to see it recently, and I thought, well, that could be a good training, good little training segment or training specimen to work on, because you'll see me live trying to work on it. It wasn't preset. I didn't look at it and go, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then try to show you. I'm going to just go through it, and then as I go, I'll do my best to explain what I'm doing, but you're going to actually see me try to get it to work, and hopefully it will work, and maybe it won't. But I thought that would be kind of a cool, unique, and kind of a different way to show it, because it wasn't pre-planned. It wasn't, I didn't already mess with it and get an idea of how to, how I can achieve the goal. It's just, well, let's work with it and see what we get. So I'm going to bring up, I got my spreadsheet. So right now the list that I have, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to show this in, oh goodness. Yeah, I'm going to show it in Wavetech first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it again in PortfolioXpert. I'm going to show some of the different features. And give me a second. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go create and modify. And what I'm going to do for right now, I'm just going to do, what I'm going to do is do training. I'll do training test. And I'm just going back to the standard 5-year look back. And on this one, like I said, it was 44 symbols, I believe was what the number is. So it's going to be pretty hefty. So I was going to start with about 350,000. And I should go back because in case we do have new clients that have not built portfolios yet, or if you've just only started to build portfolios in Portfolio Wizard, when you go down here to the minimum transaction, you want to kind of stay within like 10% of whatever your beginning equity is. So if it's 3,000 or 300,000, then 3% would be, or is that 10%? $3,000. If you go up to 500,000, then you'd want to use 5,000, and it shows right here the increment and the breakdown that kind of helps you out there. And on the activity, the default always goes low activity, high liquidity. We want to be more active and participate more in the market, which in turn would give us higher probability of profit. So we will go to high activity, low liquidity. And now we're going to add the symbols. So what I'm going to do is, so this, it wasn't prearranged. I just put it this way because it was in PortfolioXpert, so it's easier to grab it this way and put it in a spreadsheet. So on this one, it was strictly on the weekly model. So what I'm going to do here is optimize for weekly. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to paste, and so now it actually adds all of my symbols into the weekly optimized weekly model box. So then I go next. And I know, and this was actually good for training because, like I said, I haven't messed around with this. I haven't touched this portfolio for a long time. So what was happening is I noticed as I was getting prepared earlier that some of these symbols had stopped stopped trading earlier in the year. So that kind of shows you this was actually a project I started late last year. So when you do see this, and this is why I left it in here, because again, it's a nice training session or training point to point out. Whenever you do see symbols that are in the red, that means that they had stopped trading. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to the green button here, and it'll bring up this box. Is this coming up okay? Because I did not enlarge this. I'm going to enlarge this.
Yeah, it's good.
Is that good? Okay, so what we do is we look at the last date, which is 3/27, and what we're going to do here is go to 3/27, and we're going to put a stop right here, and then click apply. So, and I know we've started to stress this before, and it's just very important. When you see a stop like this, you have to go with the last date. You can go before that if you weren't trading that stock, but it's always best to go with the last date that showed up or that's in red, because if you go after, if you go 3/28, if you go 4/1, it sometimes will trip up the system that it doesn't recognize that the symbol was properly deactivated, and it could still give you errors.
I think PortfolioXpert's smarter.
I believe it is. I think it might. I just know that from years and years past with the Wavetech. So I'm sorry. I'm just kind of going through this real quick. A little bit of housekeeping here. Clean this all up. But again, to go over it repetitively, it's an important part, and so we let everyone know. Okay, so now I scroll down, just make sure everything's good. So, you know, you may ask, okay, if I'm building this for the first time, if these symbols already stopped trading, why would I keep it in there? So if you are building it for the first time and using it forward, clearly if you are trying to back test and you realize maybe you had this on your list and you didn't realize that these symbols had stopped trading, and then you see that they have, then go ahead and just remove them completely. Don't use them. On my end, this was for research purposes back last year, so I still personally have to keep it in there. So that I just want to explain in case someone had a question. You know, that's just kind of why I was doing that. Is because for me, I have to keep it in there because it was a constituent back last year.
Hey, Jay,
Yes.
Pirate Pete's got a good question. Says that you have 42, he's over on YouTube, 42 symbols, and what's your experience for users, you know, the number, which I think you covered in the early one. So what's the optimum number or range of symbols to use in a portfolio? Now, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I usually like going with anywhere from 20 to 25, but also then we're working on the starting equity of 100,000 if you're close to 20 symbols, or 150,000 to start if you're going with 25 symbols. And you know, but that gives you a better. It's a little more diverse, or it gives you a few more symbols to work with if things are kind of rough. If you're trying to run 8 to 10 symbols, it can get tricky. I've started to build a lot more portfolios with symbols, you know, that they're less, and they do work, but then there's just going to be times, what if none of those symbols, which is kind of rare, but let's just say 8 symbols really aren't working the best, then what is the portfolio doing? Well, it would just go to cash. So not that that's a bad thing, but if you have more symbols and can run a bigger portfolio, and I know we're going to work with the fractional shares, so I'm still kind of going on that old train of thought of, you know, if you can run a portfolio that's closer to 100,000, I would say really shoot with 20, minimum of 20. So, and on this one, I'm not going to do the Real Whiz. I'm not doing like beefing up the allocation factor, because I'm just trying to run this, you know, what was recommended. So the 0.0423 is recommended, so I just click next. And I'm going to let that run. So that's where I was going to actually get to a stopping point and ask if anyone did have some questions before I move on to the next, since we're going to let this let the portfolio run here for a minute. As you can see down here, allocation queue. So it usually like a minute or two. And you click up here at the left, portfolio access. And okay, so it has already run through, and this is why I wanted to show. Yeah, Sharp Dress Dude isn't doing very well either at negative 0.65, but that's more of like a textiles portfolio, and also clothing stores, shoes, that kind of stuff, apparel, that kind of stuff. So that's one of my more focused portfolios that focuses only on those sectors. So yeah, it's people are, I guess, spending too much time indoors. They're not buying clothes to go out and look nice right now. Maybe see if there's any companies that do face masks.
Now that the vaccine is on, yeah, maybe that portfolio will take off like it is. Real quick, there's another YouTube question.
Sure.
And I'll answer for it. Ram's asking if you put 50 symbols set up, it picks the best 25. You actually have to do the selection process. It doesn't know how to pick the best 25. That's one of the things we went through before, and just trying to home down, going through the ER ratios, which are the effectiveness ratios, and those type of things that that you really have to go through and review and say, hey, these are the the top 25 that I want to use and go through those. There is a way. I think we could probably, and I know you're not super up to speed on the on the mining tool in Expert, but there would be a way maybe you could put it down to the top signals in the system. There is a way to do that.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what Rom's saying is if it's 50, what's the best 25? And that's kind of like right here. I've got 45 I'm working with, and I am going to try to get it to like 25, maybe 30, because that's quite a few to cut. But I'm going for 25 to 30, and we'll see how it works. But that's kind of what I'm doing. I am going to look for and try to show within Wavetech how we can really try to pick out the best ones. So the portfolio has run. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the portfolio name, and then down here we can just see the chart. And this was the beginning equity, so you can see it took a hit and it really dipped down and it went back up, and it's just kind of up and down. But we can go down here. So I started at 350,000 5 years ago, and I'm only up 35,000. So not the best of performers. And down here, 2015 wasn't that great of a year, which again wasn't good anyway. But that's not that good of a portfolio. Because it couldn't handle 2015 very well. So then we're looking 2016 was a bounce back, 2017, then you can see the negatives. This year has been hit kind of bad, but November, even though we're only a little over a week in it, it's doing pretty good. So what we're going to do, so on the symbol returns, we're going to start to see a list here. And, one of the things you look at the net profit, and what is nice is that the ER ratio is listed here.
And this is the ER ratio just for the symbols during the back test, not the actual ER for the symbol in research. They're different.
I was going to ask that. I thought that's what it was, but I was actually going to. It is that, is it? It is for the portfolio.
Yeah, showing you the 9 winners, 8, and what it is during these. This is a place, if you did want to see how a symbol did in a particular space and time, that you can narrow it down. And what does this go back to 15, you said?
Yes, correct. 2015.
So this would just be for the past 15 years or 5 years, what the ER ratios are. If you brought PFS, like if you clicked on that and took it into research, I won't interrupt you, but if you do that, then you'd get a different ER. That's just going to take you to the chart there.
Oh,
so that's okay. But that's okay. Yeah, go ahead. I don't want to.
Okay, sure.
Go ahead and keep going.
So I'll go back here. I didn't really test this part out. I'm going to see how this looks in here. Maybe, this will give me what I want. Like I said, I'm running this right now as we're talking. I didn't really plan, or I kind of go through things so I could get a rhythm and get a routine, see if everything works, kind of work out the kinks. But last time I did that, everything worked great. And then when we were live, it wasn't the best of things. So actually I got this in reverse. So down here at the bottom is actually the higher performing. And this is just right now strictly going with the profit that it had made within the portfolio, but also here, and I believe I did cut some of that off. Yeah, I didn't grab the whole, like the headers and everything, but so yeah, on the very far right corner, I believe, like I said, I'm sorry, I didn't. So that is the ER ratio. I'm gonna go full screen. So on the far right corner is the ER ratio. But right now, what I'm just looking for is the actual raw, profit or loss within the portfolio. So, and I don't know why this isn't. Yeah, that's actually not the worst one. I thought I did. I'll try it one more time. Largest. I'm gonna try it one more time. And it's that one's kind of goofy. I don't know why that one's doing it. So anyway, so we're going to come down here to the very bottom. And like I said, so if I started with 45 and I'm trying to shoot for at least no more than 30, so I got to look at 15 of them. So this is one of the ways to do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab these three right here. How did I do this? So I'm going to separate. I'm just going to put these here. So I'm going to just run through this as one of the ways that I do this, because there's a lot of times you'll go in phases and you'll try one set of stocks and do certain alterations based on one parameter. Like I said, I'm just going for raw, like what were the worst performers, and we'll try that. And if that works, then you go with that. And if not, then okay, we got to try something else. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually remove this to the side. And while I'm doing this, were there any more questions right now? Because I'm going to, after this, I'm going to kind of go in for a few minutes and we're going to work on this and see what calculations we can get. How's YouTube doing over there, Bob?
I don't know. I'm not watching.
Okay. Okay, so for Zoom, our Zoom folks, do you guys have any questions right now? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Virtual Portfolio Manager, and down here for Training Test, I'm going to go to Modify. And then what I'm going to do is go to Snapshot. And again, I know we covered this a little bit last week. I'm going to show it again. So what you can do is before I modify anything, you snapshot the current settings. And I know Bob said, I know like first or the start, or I forget how he worded it, but you can put in, you know, original and then the date if you want, so that you know when you did this originally, because sometimes that could be years down the road and you're trying to remember how far back or when did that start. So what we're going to do, I did save it, and when you click on choose snapshot to load, it'll show up here if it's saved correctly. So it is right here. So if I do these changes and I don't like them and I don't want to get buried into then trying to make a few other changes, sometimes you can get into a rabbit hole and you don't recover. And if you want, you make a few changes. If it doesn't work, you can always reload that snapshot and try fresh. But what I'm going to do is I had my list. And off of this, so AM was one of the ones. So what I'm going to do, and again, we don't want to change the current entries here. The very first entry always has to be the inception date of the portfolio. And so I'm going to go ahead and say it's like, I believe we may have covered it, but I do not remember. So if you're and I don't think we did, if you're adding a new symbol to an existing portfolio, what you're going to want to do is, if you're adding it now, and let's say, okay, you started in 2015, you're not going to put the new symbol in, and then it is going to already automatically start in 2015, because that'll change all of your numbers. So what you would do is you're going to actually click stop. You'll click stop for the inception date, the very first entry, and then what you would do then is, and I'm going to do this as a test. So what you do is start, and I'm gonna say 2018. So, okay, so the inception date of the portfolio is 2015. You have to have an entry there. So we have that, but you can put it as a stop. That's fine. And then on your actual entry, then May 2nd, 2018 as a start, and then you click apply. So that would be how you would start. You know, you would add a new symbol to an existing portfolio that you've already been using.
I'm going to add something, Jay.
Okay, I was just going to ask if there were any questions, but go ahead.
Yeah, so the reason why he's doing that, if you go ahead and close that box. Okay. And the reason why he's doing that is that the beginning, any stock that you add in always has to have the same inception date. So that 15.0102, that inception date has to be the beginning, even if you're not going to trade it, you have to have that beginning date, because the logic on Wavetech gets very easily confused if you don't do it the right way. And this is one of the things that we've seen the biggest errors over time is this is the one time, for the most part, everything just happens like it's supposed to happen, except for this is where you're actually telling the software what to do. So you have to make sure that when you add a symbol in, you have to turn it off on the inception date on this screen. So it's always right there, but that's what Jay just showed you.
Yeah, and going off of that, as Bob was talking, that kind of tripped some memories of mine helping clients in the past where, and at first I didn't know what was happening, and it took me a while to research the problem, but what was happening, they didn't fully understand that, or they forgot when we had trained them initially, which happens, that's understandable. What they were doing, they put the inception date and it was a start, but then the next day they were putting it as a stop, or like 2 days later, and it was tripping up the system because the date was so close to the inception date. Because it was like a start and a start. I forget how they did it. Oh, they did it as a stop. The inception date was a stop, but then the start was right after. I forget exactly what they did, but I remember the action was a day or two later, and it was just really, it was a thing that was messing up the system, so it wasn't tracking it properly. So yeah, if you just make sure, if you're going to start it, it's got to be, I would just say go at least a week past the inception date. If you're going to start something that close to the inception date, I know that may be pretty rare, but just kind of going forward, it's kind of a good little tidbit to know.
And I'd even just say start it on the inception date and go forward if you're that close. 1 day is not going to make a difference, or a week, but you can do it like you said.
Right, and I don't remember the reason for that one, and it was a portfolio. They had like 150 symbols and starts and stops. It was it was interesting it was a challenge to figure out what was going on. So I just showed this as a little test. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to change this back, but what I'm going to do, because I want to fully, okay. So since I'm not wanting to use this symbol, if you really don't want to use it, and you're for sure, you could just go back to right over here to the right and on create custom, and you can remove that symbol from the box and it won't even show up at all. But if you want to have some record of maybe you want to revisit this stock later, which is what I recommend personally, and I believe Bob does too on some of this, is that maybe it's not a good performer now, but who knows, it could be a good performer later. So you could leave it in there and it's just deactivated. You can bring it back later. So yeah, what we're going to do is, so I'm actually going to get rid of that altogether. So all you have to do is, let me just do this so that I don't set up any confusion. So what we're going to do is, normally it's going to look like this. The very first entry, inception date, is a start. So all we're going to do is we're going to do a stop, and we're not even going to change anything because it's just stopping. So click apply.
And Jay, I'm going to address a Zoom question here real quick.
Okay.
Jerry Kirkman wanted to know, how do you interface with the trading platform? When Jay gets done with this, I'll cover that, Jerry. So,
okay. Yeah, I'll be done with this section.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Just
I'll talk to him a little bit about that.
Okay. So I'm just going to go through my list as we're going through this. So it's really easy. All we're doing is we're just clicking stop on the inception date and apply, and then close the window. So down here you're going to see that CVA is red. So right now the system is not recognizing it. It's not going to trade it. It's not going to do anything with it. It won't do anything until we tell it, we turn it green and everything. Yes, I'm just going through my list, and I'm putting a stop on these.
Yeah, Troy Maddock, I don't see, this is a YouTube question. I don't see you trying to get into the room.
Oh, I see him here. I didn't hear it. He's right here.
Oh, okay, I can't do it then. All right.
Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, I was looking at the other screen. I didn't even see or even hear the chime. I
guess since I made you the host, you now have control over that.
Yeah, it's popping up on my other screen.
Okay, there you go.
I was catching it earlier, and I was letting people, and I was so focused on this part.
That's all right. Just keep going.
So yeah, I know this is tedious. I'm just going through and I'm clicking stops on these, but it's a lot of fun after you get through this part, and then you can actually see the changes. But that's why I wanted to do this now, not already have it preset.
So you're just going through, and all the ones that you've eliminated from the portfolio, you're just turning them off right now, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I'm just going through and I'm just turning them off because, I was saying that earlier, where maybe you can put in a watch list, you can keep an eye on it, and maybe it is going to come back, and then you want to start it up, and maybe some of the good performing symbols are lagging now. They're not doing as well, and so that's why you don't have to just completely take it out of the portfolio. You may want to keep it around.
And I think that consideration, if you want to keep it around, will be why it was on the list in the first place. So let's say this was a chosen list of symbols that your favorite stocks of all time, and you always trade these, but sometimes you want to trade them, sometimes you don't. Then you can leave them in, and then it's real simple. You can just go in and turn it back on when you want to trade it again. So and you can have it on a watch list and maybe look for a trade. So when it does come back on, you can make that consideration.
Yes, absolutely. And on this one, I know it's almost as bad as the 4-letter word of the data word, but it's the what is it called? Now I forgot it. The dividend. This is the dividend list.
Yeah.
It's like, no, not dividends. But yeah, this was just, like I said, this was a project that was started a long time
So
ago.
you're just working off a list that you've already figured out which symbols to eliminate, and you're just going through the list, right?
Well, yeah, I just, on the fly, just a few minutes ago, I went through, and what I did on this particular list was it's kind of like what Ram was asking. I just went through, and without looking at any other parameters, I just, on the list, looked at which ones lost the most money, and I just grabbed the lowest on the list that lost the most money, and I'm just going to take them out right now and see. I want to see how that affects the portfolio. And so this is the first time for me doing this. So I didn't, like I said, I haven't done this before and prepped anything. So this is on the fly. So now that we did all this, we can actually just go down to allocate and finish. I do want to check the allocation factor, but it shouldn't change because it's still seen, it does still have, so it hasn't changed. So none of that's going to change even though they've been deactivated. So we're just going to go to allocate and finish. And it'll take a minute to run here. And if anyone does have any questions,
I'm going to do some YouTube stuff. Like you said, it's kind of funny. The roles are reversed here.
You're doing my job. I'm doing your job.
There you go. I think you're doing my job better, though. So I'm not sure I'm doing your job better. I just see, John C. He says he's Wavetech. He don't think he got a Zoom link. Send us an email to info@Kendall Report, and we'll see if we can make sure you're on the list. You should be. Anybody that's a subscriber should have gotten an email. But anyway, because we'd love to have you on so you could ask questions and make sure you get things answered. We'll do our best here. But there was something else here. So Private Pete was talking about, I understand we're just talking about above, it's just selecting and deselecting. Yeah, so if you have, why don't you show your spreadsheet again, because you did set some symbols to the side, the ones that you're deselecting, correct? This one's over here.
Yeah, so let me go full screen with this. So over here to that's a little too much. Yeah, the highlighted list here to the right, that was actually the set of symbols that I picked to deselect. We're gonna deactivate them.
And they were deactivated because they didn't perform well, correct?
Yeah, correct. What they're actually this list here. So, see, if I was to go through here, this would make it a lot easier for everyone to see. So, all I did, this is one of the ways to start whittling down and it's a quick and easy way if you want to just go through and see which ones were the worst performers. So these actually did lose, not that they're a lot, but they did lose the portfolio some money. and I just went through and picked. I didn't count how many I selected, but whatever it was, 10 or 12 or whatever I grabbed.
23.
So I just did. Go ahead.
23. It's from 80 to 103.
Oh yeah, this okay. There you go.
There you go. Yep. So about half of them.
So, and I know there are other ways, but I was just going through this way first so we can see this as the first stage of how you can whittle down. Because on some of these you can see that they still have a fairly high ER, but just lately they had a good ER from really good trades in the past, and we'll look at the trade log, but you can see if maybe like the last year they just didn't do real well, and it could be from this year. These are all weekly models. So what I'm going to do, since this has run, so it's still in the negative, but I know it seems like it has improved a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the name. So yeah, okay, so we deactivated 18 of them. So yeah, now we're getting down into the realm where I kind of feel comfortable right around 27. So if you remember, I started at 350,000. We only got up to 383,000. So now we're at 468,000. So just by doing that simple step, that just kind of starts to show that's one way that you can start whittling it down we took out those others that were dragging the portfolio down, and look, now we're what was that, 118,000 from where we started over 5 years. So, and down here we look again, and I know I didn't save a screen cap, or I didn't save these numbers, and that's usually what I'll do. Where's my spreadsheet? I want to show this again. So on my spreadsheet, and I do have it here, so my year-to-date comparisons, and what I'll do is when I'm doing that, you can see these are actually different portfolios I was working on, but on the same portfolio, you can say phase 1, phase 2, or name it 1, 2, 3, so you know it's one portfolio, but you're going through the steps to try to improve it. I didn't start with that, but that'll show you the improvements made and let you know that you are going in the right direction. Because I remember this one, I forget if it was down at least, 15%, or maybe it was 18% down. So we've at least got it down where it's only 9% down, which for 2015, that was kind of normal. And we did improve some of these numbers a little bit. But still, it's not exactly what we wanted. So what I could do is, you can whittle down even further using the same method, or you can start looking at some of the other parameters of the trades themselves. You can also go through showing how I can show that. So 2018 was a low year, but we improved. I think it was at several percent down on the first iteration, but we're starting to improve that. But what you can do, I'm going to go ahead and show this now. Because I had my list. I'm going to bring this back up real quick, but I'm going to bring it up to where I can see it so it doesn't hamper everyone's view. So what we're going to do, like gel was one of the, it's not going to show up on here because that was active. So I'm going to pick one of these others that didn't do, like, it's not on there. I'm going to pick on People Corp or whatever this. Let's see. So actually what I want to do, you can go to trade log. No, that's not. I was right the first time.
Hey, John C. on YouTube, I sent you a Zoom link.
So in case, what I did when looking at this individual symbol from that symbol list that's in the portfolio, I clicked R for the reports. And what you can do is model results and the symbol results overview. So what we're going to do is look at the trade log, so you can see where from. Let's see, this is going back. So what you can do is view the full trade log and try to enlarge this the best I can. So you can see where it made a really good trade earlier this year, and that was the last trade that it made. And then you can see that these trades here, they were some losers, and they had some really good trades. They had a really, really good trade back in 2011. So if, let's say 2018 was a rough year, what you can do if you're trying to whittle down and get, do a step further other than just what was the worst performer, is you can look here on the trade log on each symbol, and that's one of the things I do. Is try to see if not that these were really that bad in 2018, but if there were some that 10, 15, 20, 25% losers, you probably just want to go ahead and take that symbol, or deactivate that symbol, because it's just not going to work. It's holding down the portfolio. But if let's say it wasn't doing good right now, but it did do good in 2018. Did I say that right? Because it's not doing good now, but it was doing good in 2018. Maybe you want to keep it in there because it helped through 2018, and they just have to kind of wait it out and see if going forward it comes back. So
real quick, is one of the things I want to point out. This loss of 3% is 3% of the amount allocated to that symbol. What's your allocation factor on this strategy? So I just
I can go back to it. I'm trying to.
So just so you know, you're not losing 25% or 15% of your portfolio. You're losing 3% or 2% of the allocated amount. So can you click on the ST button on the portfolio or something? Or can you get that? I just want to see what that is. I know you're way out of here. I'm sorry. But I just want, so click on that. The amount initial transaction is 4.23%. So if you lost, I wish you hadn't closed out all your pages. But but what I'm trying to say here is you'd only lose on 0.4. This would be less. I don't know the number now, so I can't.
I can go back. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just trying to point out something. I don't want people to think they just lost 25% of their portfolio. Okay, right. So when you're looking at that, that 4%, it's So I'm not even sure. This is not anywhere. I don't know where you were, but anyway.
I'm trying to get back to it.
But
I should be there in a second.
It should be the portfolio. Yeah. So right here, where you lost 0.4%, 0.04. That's 4%. So it's 4% of whatever the. Now I forgot what the allocation factor was. I usually leave all this stuff on the same page so I can reference it.
0.04. Well, I'm not.
But it's 0.4. That my point is 0.16 of 1% is the impact on the portfolio. So if you had 4% and you lost 25%, then that would be 1%. And that would be bad. That would be material. But most of these little losses here that you see, and when it says I lost 0.4, 0.6, 2%, 2% of 5%, not very many percents, is my point.
It's a small percent.
Right. And so the way that the portfolio manager works, I just want to point this out, the way that it's worked is that those losses are reflective of the position, not on the portfolio. That's, I guess, my point.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so this isn't showing the symbol itself. Yeah. This is within the portfolio.
Yeah, so Pirate Pete's got it right. 4% of 4%, which is 0.16 of 1%. So that works. Yeah. Okay, it's very small little snippet. I just want to make sure the folks watching that they get that that you're not losing when you say if it lost 25% on a trade, that you didn't lose 25% of your portfolio value that would be catastrophic. And even a 25% loss would be a big one. And, you know, that would be pretty ugly. But then the other thing to remember when you're looking at a portfolio and you own multiple, maybe 6 or 8 or 10 stocks simultaneously, well, maybe that one stock got nicked for 0.16%. The other stocks probably made up for it in the portfolios that were working. So there's a neutral there because of the portfolio environment. It neutralizes some of the risk of these trades when you're in that portfolio environment. I hope that made sense. So, but I just didn't want anyone to think that they were losing 25% of their portfolio when you said that.
Right. Yeah, and I didn't catch that. That was
Just in case. Just in case. Yeah, like for instance, on this list here, there's a trade here. It made 6.2%, so it'd be 6.2% of 4 or 5%, which is once again just a small increment of this. So when you see a 20 or a trade that's up 80% and it had a 5% allocation, now you made the impact to the portfolio was 4% of increase. Mm-hmm. Okay? All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. So what I'm going to look at here. So yeah, anytime you want to, just look at your statistics. ST gives you the stats of the portfolio. So I got 45 total. I'm just trying to see because I was at 27 and I was running 350,000. So the performance is decent. We've at least increased it. What I'm going to do is we can go through and check again and see, now that we've deactivated some of those stocks, they won't be on the list anymore. And I can actually fine tune this one even further by using the same procedure. I mean, you see a lot of these, it was just down $19 or something. It wasn't that big of a deal. I was just going to pick a few more just to see what they do, because maybe it'll make a difference. I'm just going to try it on the fly right now. Just get a I'm just gonna try a few and see what we get.
Now, while you're doing that, H. Wood, I agree with you on your comment. The timing.
That was a good comment he made.
The timing was interesting, let's say.
Oh, okay.
Has nothing to do with what you're talking about, Jay.
Okay, all right. I thought maybe they're making fun of me or something.
No.
It's weird. I'm blind over on this side. I can't see anything that's going on.
Just stay on your job.
I know. It's unnatural for me. Like, wait, what's going on? All right, so I picked 5 more symbols that I'm gonna deactivate. We're gonna see what we get with them.
Yeah, I'm getting antsy. I'm ready for an answer here.
Uh-oh. Well, and one of the things is you know, and I've had it where you're even all the whittling in the world may not matter. It may not be exactly what you want, or it's just going to be one of those that it'll make you some money, but it's a lower performer. But I've had that where it's like you come up with this whole list, you spend a couple of days working on, or however long it is, and then you're like, oh, that didn't work. Go on to the next list, and so
it's a sandbox. You get to play in it, and you get to make new roads and do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it doesn't. But that's the point of it. But the goal of this is to be able to walk forward a strategy, and sometimes, like you said, maybe all of those recreational stocks and things of that sort will start to work now. if there really is a vaccine, and especially a vaccine that's 90% works 90%, which is like the most amazing vaccine ever developed by man. If that's true, then that's amazing in itself. But if that's the case, then it's party time. Let's get our shots and get on the airplanes and get on the boats, start moving around. But yeah, there's actually never been a vaccine that was 90% effective ever developed by any human on this planet. So it's
I was gonna say that's a high number. That's a high.
It really is. Maybe that's what got everybody scratching their head when the S&P was printing 4650, 4650 the other day. So anyway.
So the percentage is still negative, but I've improved it yet again a little bit. So I'm gonna click on the name and let's see what we get. So now I'm down to 22 active stocks. So I've cut this thing in half. I got 23 deactivated and 22 active. So again, okay, so we're getting near 500,000. So we're getting into where you can actually call this somewhat of a decent portfolio.
Well, I'm ready to do something else because you only have 22 stocks active and you have an allocation factor that's met for 45. So you're not using any of the money.
Right. And
wouldn't that be the next play is, okay, let's crank up the allocation factor now?
No, absolutely. And I will do that.
Well, let's get it going, man.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Steps on me here. I'm trying to just show this real quick, then we'll get into the goodies. I'm just saying that we're getting to something that this looks like it may work. So let's try it. But okay, still a little bit negative, but we're cleaning up the other negatives here. 2018 actually came out with some money. So all right, we're gonna now.
Yeah, we don't have 3 days, man. I'm giving you a hard time. You know that.
I know.
Folks, you got to know I know how to bust his chops and get him all going. So been doing it for a long time. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and say, let's say we got it all done. Let's go next. And we got an hour into whittling.
Yeah, I told you I thought this was a cool idea of just doing it.
No, I think it is. I'm ready to move on.
I know, but normally takes me hours. That's why I wasn't trying to go into every little detail. I'd be here for hours and people be snoring. And...
or you already got me there. I'm teasing, you know that.
Be nice. I know you're getting
not in my nature. You should know that by now.
Totally. Trying to make here we go. What I'm doing is I went down to the active CSV file and it's on my other screen. So when I click, give me a second. When I clicked active, so right here, I clicked the active CSV file right over here on the left-hand side. And what that gives me is this spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do is highlight all this. I'm going to copy this. So now what I do with this is all the fun and nitty gritty. So I'm not going to modify this portfolio anymore. I'm actually going to create the second one. So now I got to remember what I called it. Was it retail? What did I call it?
I don't know.
Test.
Test something. Test right there. Retail hot list or something.
Training test. There we go. Training test.
There you go.
So I'm going to say this is 2. Yeah, I'm not getting fancy with my names right now. So now 22. So I know that I have like 22 stocks. I look at our list here, 22 or 20 to 35. So I'm going to go right in the middle. You can stay at 100,000 is fine, but I'm going to go right in the middle and go with 150,000. I'm actually going to keep the minimum transaction at 1,000. And then of course, again, high activity, low liquidity. And we are still doing the weekly, so the list that I saved, I'm going to go ahead and drop that in here. And then go to the portfolio snapshot. And so this shows me everything's in the green, no red dates. So we're going to continue on. And this is where we're going to get the new updated and allocation factor of 0.086.
So the old one was what, 0.5 something, correct?
Like 0.4 something.
Yeah,
we can look at it in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, 042.
Okay. Doubled.
That's double. Yeah, so I guess that's this is good that we're doing it this way. So yeah, if you do that many changes and you're deactivating half of the symbols, that's a lot. And like Bob said, you're now diluting the allocation factor where it's just going to sit there and look at the wall and not.
It's just not going to have an effective use of the capital. So you have to remember when you're running the portfolio, what you're trying to do is make sure you're utilizing the capital as aggressively as you can. You still want the sell strategies to be able to keep you in cash and when necessary, but you also, when it's buying, you want to make sure it's deploying the capital at a, to make hay when you can make it.
Yes. Yeah, because that number, that's based on twice as much, and that's just not gonna do as much. Well, it's still negative, but we're just below negative. I was really hoping I wanted to get that into the green.
Yeah, but when you look at this, you should have started in the same value so you could compare.
Yeah, I just realized that. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, because how do you compare it when it's not even the same?
Exactly.
I didn't even. Okay, so I did 300,000. Right?
Yep.
I'm like, wait, where'd all my money go?
Exactly.
Well, don't remind me. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to building portfolios.
I know, of course.
Well, I'm usually doing this without an audience, so.
And especially without me looking over your shoulder.
Right. What are you doing? Come on, hurry. What are you doing that for? Oh, look at that.
At least I'm not.
Are there? Or go ahead.
At least I'm not Grandpa.
Yeah. I know. While we're doing this kind of hanging out, were there any questions? Did anyone want to ask? Let's see if we can get a more positive.
You're doing such a good job. Nobody has any questions.
It's crickets. They're like, wow. But we understand everything.
Oh, this is fantastic, Jay. I've gone in and updated mine on the site as you're doing yours. I'm just watching and learning.
Oh wow, there you go. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, it would be hard to be a better instructor. You're killing it, buddy.
There you go.
Well, thank you.
Even with the old man hounding him in the background.
Hey, that's that top shelf instruction. It's like Baker Mayfield at the Heisman House, right?
Exactly.
Jay, Troy has his hand up for a question too.
Oh, Troy. Oh, Stuart's there too. Hello, Stuart.
How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Jay, what's up, Jay? What's up?
I'm doing okay, Troy. How you doing?
Living on this Wavetech app. I just want to share with you what I've been doing. So, the way you put your portfolios together, I kind of, before I even get to that point of adding symbols into the database, what I do, maybe this is a little cumbersome, but once I have like a basket of stocks that I'm interested in, I literally I break out a spreadsheet, Excel or whatever, and I actually backtest everything just under research, and I backtest all 4 models, daily 1, daily 3, blah, blah, blah. And I just write down all of them, like all the ERs. I look at the profits, and I just look at the year to date and take all that information, and I just kind of like figure out which model works best for me, especially for entry, to see which is the recent trade and the amount, the buying price, and see how close it is to the market now. So I kind of, that's the way I've been going about it, and I've been finding some pretty good success with that method. It's kind of like you're pre-filtering everything before you throw it into Wavetech,
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing is, if it works for you, I think it's a good process. Everyone kind of has their speed or has their ideas and works at their own pace and everything. And, something like that, if it works for you, it works.
Yeah, I just think you get more information by reading the actual text in there in the trade profiles. Like, it says, it gives you good information, like this is on an uptrend, blah blah blah, expect resistance, and you look at the other models and what they say. So I feel like everyone should kind of take a look at that, you know.
Right, and on some of this, there is more that I do go into, but again, we would be here for about 4 or 5 hours.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I'm trying to show, at least on this show, try to show on the fly some of the way to do it without cutting corners or preparing stuff before the show to kind of make things look at better. This was just on the fly, and I knew this was more of a trouble portfolio because, like I said, I'd already worked on it a few times, but it was the dividend ETFs. It wasn't the primary focus, but it was on the list, and it was just something I kind of worked on and ended up I didn't go back to it much. The other portfolios that I had worked on performed better, and they helped me with the research test that I was doing. So,
Right.
you know, that's kind of why I was like, well, let's just go back to this. And I on the fly on you know, live on the show as we go, everyone can see how I do this and try to whittle it down.
Gotcha. Well, you're doing a good job, bro.
Thank you. Thanks. But yeah, I don't discourage any of the procedures if it works for that individual. And if you have more time and you want that detail and you can do that, that's great. And some of this, I'm showing this more like on the quick level for clients that just really don't have the time, and they're working full time, they're doing all this stuff, and they say, well, I have like a half hour every couple of nights to work on this. Can I use Wavetech? I was like, yeah, absolutely. You can still use Wavetech, and there are some ways that you can do some of this and still be effective, but it's, you know, it doesn't take as much time. But that's again one reason why, and I enjoy the heck out of this. I'm having fun over here, but I love building portfolios, but I want to be able to present portfolios to clients so that they can use them, because that is another time, you know, cost effective or however you say that, you know, time effective thing, is that they don't have to do anything other than look at the portfolio I built, see if it fits what they want to do, and then they use it. And you just monitor the buys and sell orders, and that's what you do. And that's one reason why I enjoy building these. I just, you know, I want to try to help people out and make their lives a little easier.
Yeah, just for the record, Jay, Mr. Tater says it's hard raising your parents, right?
Yeah. It's very difficult raising your parents. Yes.
Well, be careful, because I text your mom and she's listening.
Oh goodness.
Make you a little more nervous.
Oh, thank you. Well, now I'm gonna get all like tongue-tied.
There you go. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was trying to wait to the right time and go. She texted me back and said she's watching it. So.
Oh, great. That's funny. The spotlight is on.
Yeah. So, Mr. Tater, we got both parents here. He's got no chance of surviving. I'm the only one that can talk, though. So at the moment, maybe I should send her the Zoom link, and that'll fix it.
Bring her on Zoom. We're really making a party here. Now, what I was doing offline on my other screen here, I'm going to drag this over again. So, okay, the second test, we went through all this stuff, and let me enlarge this. So we ended up getting about $7,000 more out of the course of 5 years. So, you know, again, it's decent. It's not exactly what I would wanted it. I was really hoping to get it to perform better, but that's not bad. I mean, it's not shabby. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to get rid of that real quick. And down here again, see, we kind of went back where the symbols that I had picked, 2015 got kind of, you know, hit hard again, but the trade-off is 2018 improved a lot. So 8% positive on 2018 is pretty good. So it's kind of a trade-off. You still overall made more money. And so if you start at 300,000, so 200,000 increase over 5 years. Again, I mean, it is something, but it's not exactly what I go for. I do prefer other, you know, higher amounts. One other step at this point with 22 symbols, you really don't, for what I'm going for, I don't really want to go any less than that. But I started at 45. What I could do, and this is usually what I do if it still fits the criteria, because clearly that list of 44 stocks or 45 symbols that wasn't all of the dividend payers. That was just the bulk of the ones in that ETF list. And I was looking for that list, and granted, since I've already switched computers, I got a newer computer. A lot of stuff was on the old computer, and since I had done that project, late last year, I'm not sure where that original list was. So, what you can do is either go back to that list, or if you're not restricted, since you're not adhered to any kind of rules or laws, like institutional clients have to adhere to the different regulations. If you're open to say, well, I've got the bulk of this portfolio the way I want it, it fits the criteria, but let me bring in a few other dividend payers that wasn't in that ETF list. You can do that if you're comfortable with that and it's what you want to do. There's no regulation against it. That's what I would do. Is I would do some more research, and let's say you can find 5 more, so you beef it up to 27 symbols, and you find some really good performers. You can get that equity now from 500,000, maybe 700,000. Maybe you find 5 stocks. I've done that. You find 5 stocks, and over the course of 5 years, it's added 200,000 profit to your portfolio. So that would be the next step. Again, that's something that's time consuming. I won't show that here, but that is one of the other steps. If I've gotten down to this point, and I have no other options, then it'd be like, well, what do I do? So yeah, just you can look at an alternative list and throw a few other things in there. And that's kind of where if I have it here. So Mad Max. So Mack Truck Hauler was my original portfolio, and Mack Truck Hauler was really the transportation industry, all the trucking companies, a little bit of the different oil companies like Chevron, and I forget if it's like Phillips 66 or Mobil was the other one. It had some of the actual trucking, like Kenworth. I'm trying to remember the companies, International Kenworth, some of the different actual truck companies that build. Packard or Packard was one of them. Trying to remember what else I put in that, but I put in a couple different sectors or groups to fill that one. But what I wanted to do was, it was a good performer, but then I wanted to add a few other things, and that's how Mad Max came out. So Mad Max from the movie Mad Max, but Max in this one, it is referring to like Mack Truck Hauler, the truck. So that was kind of what I had just talked about. I wasn't getting some of the performance out of Mack Truck Hauler in a more roundabout, like I was trying to make it a little more diverse. So what I did was I did start to introduce, like in that world of Mad Max, what were they doing? Well, they did wear leather clothes, and they had survival gear and that kind of thing. So I brought in some of the companies that provide tactical stuff for police, and that was the other thing. Mad Max was a police officer. So what I did was I started to morph that into a more well-rounded portfolio. So you can do that even if you start out with one. Maybe you do keep that idea and visit that portfolio again, but you can also morph it into something else, and you can get a really good portfolio. And this one, I know this year it's not too bad, 26.5%. When you go here, you can see now, I should have looked first, but it's at 1.2 million. So yeah, right here. So originally I started out, and this one's going back 10 years because I did originally build this a few years ago, and I started at $200,000. So it's at 1.2 million. So you can see down here over the years how it did. And again, 2015 was a rough year, but it encompassed a little more. It was a little more diverse, so it had a little better performance over the long run than the original the Mack Truck Hauler portfolio did. So that's where you can start to morph an idea if you want to be a little more flexible to get the portfolio to perform. So what I am done showing this part. What I was going to show is I was actually going to bring up PortfolioXpert and show that portfolio again. So before I do that, I wanted to see if there were any questions before I move on. Bob, are you still around?
No, I left.
You left, okay. Taking a siesta. I just wondered how it was going on the YouTube side.
I don't know.
Are there any questions?
I'm not looking. Am I supposed to look?
Yeah, you're gonna help me out here, dude.
No,
You're
it
my
looks.
wingman.
Yeah, I've been trying to get John C on to the call, and I keep sending him the damn wrong link. So hopefully I got the right one. So watch for him to try to join.
Okay,
Hopefully that
okay.
last link I finally sent him was the right one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
I haven't seen any responses from your mother, so I don't know if she thinks you're doing a good job or not. So
I'll hear about it later.
yeah. Go ahead.
So what I'm bringing up here is this portfolio expert. So one of the nice things, the blue line shows you the S&P 500, and then the green line is showing this is the first training portfolio, and this is actually the one with the 45 stocks and then 22 of them being active. So you can kind of get an idea. As it got up here, it just kind of went into kind of the sideways range. It just kept going, but
it didn't participate well in the rebound.
Correct. Yeah, it got out here when it collapsed, but it just kind of kept going straight when the rebound happened. So,
but if you notice, this November, this thing just exploding up 10% in 10 days, 1% a day. That's pretty good.
So, and I did. Okay, good. This is the one that I wanted. Okay, so what I wanted to show, and this is. On this one, the three deactivated ones should be the ones that there was no more data. They had stopped trading. So this was before I actually started whittling everything down. And what I wanted to show on this part was when you go to over a little more to the right, portfolio symbol return. This is what's really, really awesome about PortfolioXpert is over here, what you're getting is the ER ratio for the symbol itself on its own, not in the portfolio or anything, but when you research the symbol, this is the actual ER ratio that the symbol itself has. And like in Wavetech, where it gives you the one ER ratio, it is the ratio in the portfolio. But right here, this is one really nice feature that I really like about Expert, is that you've got both side by side. So you can see the original. And this is what I want. I've been dying to show everyone this on one of the training shows when we were finally releasing Expert. Is you can see, and I had told clients one-on-one or like in little training groups that you can actually within even if the ER starts out a little low, when it's in the portfolio, most of the time it will increase. Now sometimes it won't, but most of the time it will increase. The ER ratio, so it will become more effective in the portfolio setting. Now I know on this one AVX it actually went the wrong way, but a lot of times they like this one, they will go up. So it all depends. But what you can see is you can start to see the net profit and loss percentage columns here, and what you can actually do on the header here is when you click this, if you click twice, it'll go with the higher performing portfolios first, and then you'll scroll down. So this was basically the same thing in Wavetech, but this is how it looks in PortfolioXpert. So down here, this is where you can start to go and see which ones were the lower performing ones, and you can start to go there.
And not only that, you can click on the Excel button on the side and export the whole darn thing.
Yeah, down. Yeah, if you can see where my arrow is, I hope that's showing up. But
it is.
Yeah, it is okay.
Should be.
Yeah. So to the right, yeah. And I got it. I actually highlighted. It's okay. Yeah, table to spreadsheet. So what you can do is on each of these lists, yeah, you can click export to Excel, and then you get this in an Excel sheet, and then you can work that way with it. And I don't know, Bob, did you want to show any more?
Yeah, no, I think you should go back to Expert and show me how, I think you were on the right trail and then you left it. Go back to the Expert chart and show it versus, you were showing how I put all three of those up there.
Okay, yeah, so what you can do when you hit the control button, and then you click on all three of these portfolios, then it'll start to overlay everything.
Yeah. So
and down here's the legend.
Yeah, and you can see that the pink one was just the buy and hold. This is right. That if you did nothing, right? Or is that the?
That's still the active portfolio.
Oh, okay, yeah,
That-
it just didn't do very good. And then as you improved it and you went through the different iterations, and there was uh, iteration 2 is the green line, and 3 was the final that you came up with.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So that cyan or that pink line. Yeah, that was the very first iteration. That I had done. I'm trying to see here which.
Yeah, so hey, John C., I give up, man. That's all I got. We'll make sure you get the next one. I'm not sure why that link's not working. Yeah, everything should have been on that. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, and I never got an indication. Yeah, that he was trying. Yeah, that was accepting it. Yeah, we'll check on that later. Make sure that he gets the emails and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened.
So, but going back here, so now I'm on all three. So hold on the last one. So this, you got portfolio orders. So there's no orders right now, but this is just going through the different sections of the portfolio and all the information.
And I think that's really small to see. I mean, it's tiny on YouTube. So
yeah, it won't react to me trying to enlarge it. Is there a way to?
No, that's been an issue.
That's how. Okay.
I have a tool that I can do a magnifying, but
oh, that's right. Yeah.
But you don't have it, so.
So the other thing, what I wanted to show. So I think right now that's pretty much what I wanted to show in Expert, Bob. Unless you wanted to show something, but I just kind of wanted to show some of the features. It's really quick and easy to single out. So now this was the final iteration of that portfolio that I was working on, and so down here we just have with the 4 symbols that just weren't really performing that well. But again, that's not that huge of a loss, so it's not like, well, we got to get rid of them because they weren't doing that well.
But it goes also to what I've talked about before. The fact that they are losing doesn't mean they didn't add value at different points in the time in the portfolio. So
correct.
So I don't focus myself. Jay and I have slightly different philosophies, but similar. But some of the times I don't worry about those losers, especially if they're involved in the reallocation trades. That's where I look to see when you go to like the portfolio trade log, and then you can see if some of those losing stocks are in the trade log as reallocations.
Yes, and when I was trying to find a better, so this was the original that I started out with before I started whittling them down. But and these still aren't that. This loss isn't that bad, but the ones I look for that I really will just get rid of even without looking at them is if they're 20,000, in this type of portfolio setting, you can see these numbers. The highest one is $26,000, and then they drop down. But if it's substantial, I've even seen some of those like obviously lost $40,000. So it's like, well, even if it did good in 08 or in 18, it's just lost too much money. So I'll let it go. But one of the other nice things that PortfolioXpert has is it actually also shows you the reallocation trades. So you've got your winners and losers, and then you've got your reallocation trades, and it'll factor in, I believe that, the model. So it's got the model trades. Am I saying that right, Bob?
Yep.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I had that right. So yeah, it also shows you the reallocation trades. And then right here, it'll show you the percentage of the winners. And I know I keep forgetting because there was something else I was going to show on Expert, and I got to remember what it was. And I don't remember what it was. But what I do want to say is that, and I'm actually going to go back to Wavetech here real quick, is I actually completed, and I'm going to continue working, but I did complete 2 of the portfolios, one of the big block Chevy and the clean energy. So It is on our Premier account, so you are able to subscribe to it. What I'm going to do right now is I've been wanting to show this. I have helped numerous clients, whether we were on the phone talking or in emails. I was telling them, how you subscribe, but I don't remember if we've covered this in the past, but I wanted to go over it again. So when you're looking at your portfolio list, or anytime you're over here, there's the quick links and then virtual portfolio manager. So when you're in the virtual portfolio manager section, you've got the 3 options. When you go over here to subscriptions, this is actually going to bring up all the premier portfolios that we have. And right now, all of them, I'm still keeping all of my portfolios starting with Motif in the name. So Motif Clean Energy Top 15 is one of the ones I just had made available. I just completed it earlier today. And then the other one's Motif, the big block Chevy 454. And the DW stands for daily, weekly. So if you see a D or a W, that's daily or weekly. And so what you do is you just click on the box to put the check mark and then click apply. And then so here's your list of your portfolios. And then down here, you're going to see user shared at the very bottom, which you can share with other clients and stuff. But right down here, you'll see the premier portfolios. So so real quick, the big block Chevy idea, the big block is, I did the other one with the small block series, which was the small cap companies. Now the big block series is actually focusing on the large cap companies. And this one's a little heavier. I believe I started like 150,000. I've got 25 symbols in there. And it's as you can see, especially this month, our year has been really good, but it is a mix of daily and weekly symbols. So that's one reason why this year has done so well. But you can see down here the performance. Now this was, Bob, if you remember when we were talking, I believe it was early last week, I told you I'd found a set of symbols that were just awesome in 2015, which we're talking, it's just
I remember really, you showing me that.
So this is actually that portfolio. So it's got the bulk of those symbols that made up a good 2015. But yeah, I just had never seen that. And I've made so many countless portfolios over the years as I've developed them. And I've never seen that high. I'll have 5 or 10 positive maybe, but I've never seen anything over 30 before. And I was like, oh, look at that. And yeah. I actually kind of have a test portfolio that it says, what do they call it? 2015 busters or something. And it, I'm working on it because it kind of, and that's where I can go. This is a little more like what Bob was talking about with, even if a symbol doesn't perform overall that great, it's in the negative, that doesn't mean it's not a good symbol. And when him and I were talking about finding this, these symbols that performed that well in 2015, he asked, well, what they do in 2016? And of course, it was only up like 1% or 2%. So it gave its all in 2015 and it didn't have anything left for 2016. And some of those symbols are in here, but when you see how you can mix them, I mixed them with other symbols that, I think, was John the one that was trying to get into the show?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm getting him in there now.
I wonder how long he's been waiting.
It just popped up on my screen, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, John, if you're in, man, now you got to say something after all that.
He's got to say. I can be quiet.
You can't show up and not say something now, dude. So you're lucky your mom can't figure out how to post anything on YouTube. I don't know if I should tell you what she said to me. I'm joking.
Oh gosh. Well, is it for everyone's ears live?
Yeah, no. She says she thinks you're doing an outstanding job. I can't figure out how to comment. I'm technically challenged. I'll have to call him later. So no. So you got the mom thumbs up on this one.
Okay, that's cool. Thanks, Mom. She's here. So real quick, if John wants to say something, I want to give him a chance. But let me just wrap up what I was saying real quick. So this shows you, and when I get that other portfolio, finished and everything, because it was just kind of on the whim. I saw it, so I kind of set those symbols aside, and I haven't really worked on it too much, but it's still looking like it's a pretty good portfolio. But I will, that could be like a small segment that I can show another time that will clarify a little bit of what we've been talking about. But it's already in practice here. So even though, like I said, those, I forget if it was only 15 symbols. I forget how many made up that portfolio where it's really awesome in 2015. I think the number was maybe in the 50%, just those symbols alone or something. But like I said, 2016 was only up 1% or 2%. So when you start to blend them, then you're gonna even out each year. So that those symbols are in here, so they're blended with other symbols. So they made 2015 a good year. They didn't perform well in 2016, but the other symbols that did perform well in 2015 actually helped the other ones in 2016. And then, as we went forward, and even look at this is another unheard of, or maybe not unheard of, but very rare 2018 that you're up 21%.
Yeah. Well, hey, I see John's sitting there waiting. He's ready to say something.
Absolutely.
Let's go. Go, John. It's all your show, man. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I guess my basic question is, I'm not clear. I get how to do, at least I have some idea how to do the back testing and building a portfolio and whittling it down and so on. But what I don't get is, how do I take that set of symbols, some of which I already own, and some which I'm interested in owning maybe, and use Wavetech to help me trade those symbols.
Yeah.
I get it, I'll get buy and sell signals, but I haven't seen any training that spells that part out.
We actually have, but it's embedded in about 70 hours of video.
Yeah, well, I went through the 3 that are online.
Yeah,
and
so
I started looking through the other ones, and it was almost impossible.
Yeah, it is impossible, not almost. So we're actually trying to work on that. We've got someone working out in the field that's going to crop some of this stuff out. We'll see how that comes together. But yeah, so the answer is that there is a way to match with what you're doing and kind of commingle what you're trying to do with your current symbols that you own and what you want to own if you want to get into sync with the portfolio itself, right? So let's say you back test it, you do everything Jay just went through, and you go, yeah, that's me, that's what I want to do. How do I sync up? So you want to look at the percentage. I found this spreadsheet the other day, and I think I'm working on trying to update it because it was a very old spreadsheet where you can put your positions in and you can copy and paste a couple things from Wavetech, and it will actually tell you exactly what you need to buy and sell to get in sync if you want to do that. And I'm working on getting that out there. But the short answer is, if you just want to use the signals, then you can allocate some of your cash out. If you want to get totally in sync with the portfolio manager itself, then there's a couple steps that we'll probably have to talk to you about, and we'd be glad to maybe set up a meeting or something with you to do that. That might be fairly simple.
That'd be great, but how would I set up a meeting?
Just send it to that info@Kendall Report.
Okay.
Or you can also, inside the software, you can go into the feedback, and you can request there as well.
And I'll show that on screen too, so you see where that is. I'll show that in here in a second.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're, there is, like I said, I know we've covered that like 3 times, but if you found it, it would, you should like get a free iPad or something. Because
we can have a contest, whoever can find it first.
No, be careful. But yeah, so yeah, you're right. Now it is in there, and that's one of the things that we're going to be working on, is getting more videos on the actual website to go through those kind of things as well. Right now, I think there's 4 Wavetech videos on there. Yeah. But somebody pointed out that if you go through the PortfolioXpert, even though it's talking about a different platform, a lot of these concepts are developed in some of those videos as well. I talked to somebody just the other day, a user out in the field, and they said that they found that those PortfolioXpert videos were helpful as well. Even though it was different, it did help them to understand some of these concepts And I know I'm pretty sure I go through that matching. I think there's a portfolio or a video on that matching element. Okay. So I'm glad you got in, man. Sorry about that. We'll make sure you get on the list.
Yeah, I don't know if I was just missing I searched through all my email, couldn't see anything.
Yeah, no, we'll make sure.
Okay, thanks.
And John, real quick, if you can see the screen, so in the quick links box at the top left, under here, there's feedback right here.
Yeah.
And so when you click on feedback, you can write whatever comment, question, whatever you want to write in here. Go ahead and write it. And over here, you can actually kind of fine tune and give us kind of a topic of whatever it is.
Yeah, so you could do basically a portfolio review might be appropriate or something like that. And, but it just depends on whether we're backlogged or not. Normally we can get to it fairly quickly. So it's,
Well, that consultation session, I think, would probably be.
Yeah.
15 minutes or 20 minutes would be really helpful.
Yeah. We're glad to do that. So.
Yeah, and if you, when you're looking through the database, if you have symbols that you trade or that you're looking at, and you try to find them in Wavetech and you do not see them, it's just, we do not have them yet. So again, on this feedback, you can still email us at info@Kendall Report, but you can also go down here to request symbols, and you can just put in the symbol here. I usually ask if you put the symbol, try to put the name. You don't have to, but sometimes I have noticed I'll do it too, where either you fat finger the keyboard, or if you like, sometimes the dyslexia kicks in for me, and I'll transverse the transverse the numbers or the letters. So if you know the company name, give me the company name and the symbol. If not, just give me the symbol and I'll research it. And if I can't find it, I always reach out to the client saying, hey, I looked for this one, I couldn't find it. Is some of the letters wrong or something like that? So that's again where you would request symbols if you can't find them in the database.
And we do have some restrictions like on penny stocks and volume and stuff. So but you could be rejected depending on what it is, because we're trying to go through a cleansing process right now in the database. So, but yeah, so most legitimate symbols already in there. The new ones that maybe new IPOs, those kind of stuff, you just let us know, and whatever it is, just let us know, and we'll do a review of that.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And that is good. Kind of, I'll reiterate on or go a little further on that for the clients watching, if you are newer. We like the IPOs. Our database and the vendor, we don't automatically update for any. We don't purposely look for new symbols that are just starting to trade and bring them in. We just wait for clients to start to request them and everything. Because a lot of times if we did put stuff in there, no one's requested, then we've got a bunch of symbols that no one's using, and that's why Bob's saying we definitely do need to cleanse the database, because we've got what are we up like 16.5 or so? We got
something
like a
like
lot
that. Yeah, there's a lot.
a lot of actually
There's a lot of mutual funds in there that are junk. So anyway.
Yeah, but so. That's another reason why we've had to set up a acceptance criteria for new requests. Do they meet certain aspects and everything? But so and it makes sense. So some of the clients, they automatically thought, okay, did you get the new IPO? And we're like, well, I didn't even know there was. I don't actively search out and see what's new is coming out. So we rely on the clients to let us know, hey, there's a new symbol coming out. We've actually gotten some of those IPOs. I don't know, maybe like a month ago.
Hey, so Ram has a question on YouTube. I think he's still around.
I have one quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Comment is the Zoom link that you sent didn't work in Chrome. Multiple times I tried, and it did work in Firefox.
Oh, interesting.
Don't know why.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, yeah. So it's
Zoom every day almost, and it works fine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Sorry about that. So so Ram is asking questions. Ram, all of the stuff you're talking about in PX, you can set your own allocations. You can set everything up individually, so you can do all the things that you're talking about. He's asking about, allocating out to different positions. Once you do that, though, you're no longer automated. You're in your trades will be automated, but your symbol allocations and everything will be manual once you go down that trail. So you'll have to determine certain things. So that'll be a training session on PX at some stage.
Yeah, we get to start diving into that stuff now.
Yeah.
Hey, and Bob, can I ask a question or bring up something?
Joe, please do.
Yeah, this is Steve Fuller, and I just joined PX last week. So I've been doing a lot of research and created a portfolio, but of course the portfolio, which has an inception date of back in 2015, shows my total equity of over $1 million, even though I'm starting with a $100,000 account.
Right.
So I understand using the percentages to when I actually get buy signals. But what I did, and Bob, you can tell me how messed up this is if it's not going to work. But what I did is I cloned that portfolio, and then I went to an inception date that was on the Monday after the last entry, because out of my 12 stocks that I have, or symbols that I have, 7 of them were already long.
Right.
So I chose an inception date of 6/15 or whatever it was, the Monday after the last entry, that I wasn't involved in, and I didn't join any of those existing ones because the 30/30 rule applies. They're already way beyond
right
what I would invest in at this point. So I'm basically waiting for my next sell signal and then the next entry signal to get in. So when I did that, I had one buy signal on Monday, which I entered, and now the actual portfolio, the clone, actually reflects the exact amount of equity that I have. It shows all the symbols. It shows that 8 of them are long. It shows that I'm actually only in one, and it actually reflects correct percentages in my portfolio. The only thing that I noticed different is the allocation factor was a little bit different when I cloned it and changed the inception date.
Okay. Yeah. Might have been when you changed the inception date, maybe that allocation step got ran. There's 2 factors that come up. That's for another. But when you rerun a portfolio, it'll show you the allocation. There's like a factor there. If you click on that allocation that's above the line where it's filled out in the box on the wizard, it will actually take that new value. So that might have been what happened.
And I did. I clicked on that and it took the new value. And I don't know if it would have been better to actually go with the value that it recommended when I changed the inception date, or go back to the original portfolio and use the
I mean, you could have actually, if you could flip a coin. I'm not sure, which way it would have come out better or whatever. But as long as it's reflecting what you're trying to get to, then sounds like you achieved the goal.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Bob. Jay, it's Wayne. How are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
Wayne, how you doing?
Good. Interesting that last question. I did the same sort of thing, exactly the same sort of technique, what he just said. And I managed to get everything perfectly to line up, allocation factor, everything in PortfolioXpert. It worked really well. And I'd like to say to everybody that's out there that's using Wavetech, definitely try PortfolioX. It's a lot of learning. I spent the whole weekend playing around, rebuilding portfolios. Very interesting, very powerful.
It really is. It's amazing, actually. So we've been, like I said, we did a soft launch, so there's not a lot of folks, so we didn't blow ourselves up trying to handle a lot of stuff. Yeah. So, but that's excellent. Yeah. No, it is very powerful.
You can definitely see how it's developed from Wavetech, and knowing Wavetech, it really helps when you start using it. Yeah.
And the good news, you still have Wavetech.
Yeah, exactly. One thing interesting I did notice was if you build a portfolio and say build it daily, weekly, and then you do the same portfolio on Wavetech, there's a couple of instances where sometimes it will put one of the stocks in daily on Wavetech, but actually put it in weekly on PortfolioXpert. I've seen that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Jay, I could send you the 10 stocks that I was playing with that, where you could actually do that experiment and you'll see.
Yes, Dwayne. Yeah, if you do that, that'd be cool. That could help me research it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a lot more training, especially on BDAS and all that. I can't wait to see all that. Yeah, interesting.
Well, it was nice to talk to you. That I can't remember when I called you. It was morning your time, and whether it was Thursday night or Friday night, I forget. But I was just what? Go ahead.
It was Friday morning.
Oh, well, that's what it was. Okay, yeah. So I was just, that right. So it was Thursday night my time. I just was glad to help you get logged in so you could use it.
Oh, it was great. So, I mean, I spent the whole weekend. I pretty much used it all weekend.
I figured that's what was going to happen.
Yeah,
that's like
exactly
I gotta get you logged in.
Yeah. So I was just looking at the list. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Thanks for getting that done, Jay. Yeah, interesting. No, go ahead.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so Jerry Kirkman, I had addressed a question you had an hour ago or more. Could you maybe come on and ask the question again? Because I think it was about addressing, if you don't mind. You can turn your mic on or something maybe and give us a chat.
And real quick, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Wahid, I know you had your hand up. We're not trying to ignore you. So.
Yeah, no problem. I just had a quick question, if you don't mind. You know, when Bob says, for example, there's a 10% chance of price closing above or not closing above a certain level. How do we work? How can I work that out? Can Wavetech or PortfolioXpert help?
I'm not sure. It depends, because most of that stuff, it has to do with the PPMs and what the reading are on a PPM versus a moving average and a value that I'm doing analysis on, which is somewhat outside of the realm of Wavetech or PortfolioXpert on that level. So yeah, so what I'm referencing there is just that there's a value that's out there, and based on the let's say downward or upward pressure that the market's likely to even hold or has a very low probability of exceeding the value. So
how can I interpret the PPM percentages presented?
There is a video that's not an easy question, but here's a video on understanding the PPMs on the channel. Might be worth watching, and if that doesn't answer your question, I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow, so you could ask again then if you have time. I'm not sure where you are, Waheed, but
London,
yeah. So I mean, if you're around, then you can ask then. I would watch that because it's somewhat detailed in how to use those things, and that might be helpful, I think, for you. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, look out for that.
Yeah, it's under understanding my process on the channel. I think there's different segments. There's uploads, and then I think it's right below that.
Sure. Okay, appreciate that.
No problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jerry, you want to try again? Because I'm not sure. I remember I told you I was going to address something, and then we ended up down 3 or 4 rabbit holes, and I'm not sure I ever got there. I think it was something to do with matching the orders. All right. Well, it's 4:20. We only got 2 hours into this
Okay,
show.
it looks like it was Jerry Kirkman, right? Is that who you're
Yeah,
to reach?
yeah.
Okay, so he typed in something, so maybe his mic's not working. Let me see if I can. To interface with TradeStation and Okay, to interface with TradeStation and Ameritrade possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And he said he has no microphone, so
Okay.
Yeah.
No
he's
problem.
Just asking.
No, I see
yeah.
it
So he's
there.
asking about TradeStation and Ameritrade.
Yeah. So there's currently not an interface with that, but I can tell you I had a long conversation 2 days on Sunday actually with somebody, and we're trying to figure out how to get that integration done. And in fact, Ameritrade's the target actually. So not a full answer, but yeah.
It's something we're working on or trying to do.
Well, yeah, we're trying to integrate that new spreadsheet, the old spreadsheet that I'm calling new.
Yeah. So I want to say, Wahid, if you had a question, we didn't want to keep you hanging too much.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, was that him that was on there?
Yeah.
Okay, the volume was really low for me, so I couldn't tell who it was at first. Okay, so he did ask this question. Okay.
Yep.
Was he the gentleman that was in London, or?
Yeah.
Okay. I was having trouble tracking who it was that was talking, so I didn't know if he had gotten his chance yet.
All right, folks. Last burning desire. It's late on the East Coast and other places on the planet, so.
I hope that was educational and understanding and.
Yeah, you guys knocked another one out of the park today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, David.
You are welcome.
It's got to be like sitting beside him as he was learning how to drive, Mr. Kendall. A lot of patience and just hanging on for dear life, right?
And a lot of. I always joke. I said those early childhood beatings seem to have worked.
Oh yeah, they kept me in line.
Thanks a lot, James. Another splendid class on Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you, David. Thank you. We appreciate it.
So I didn't get a text on that comment from your mother. So.
I will have to talk to her after this.
She did say thanks for that. It's on one. I sent her a emoji with a hand over my mouth.
Oh, funny.
So anyway, folks, thanks for joining. And like I said, we'll be doing a live stream tomorrow. Markets only, no training. So thanks again.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Good night, guys.
All right, good night.
Good night, Richard. You take care.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. Great session.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome, Wayne. You're welcome.
Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, we got tomorrow.
Lots to do yet this week. Okay, folks. Thanks for joining.
All right, you guys take care.